Welcome back to CM's Garage. Thanks for coming out to the garage and checking out all my projects. If you watched my last video, we restored this 1940 Maytag Model 72 and got it running. If you haven't watched that video, go back and watch that video. But I had so much fun with this one, I found a 1937 Model 92. This is the single cylinder, and we want to see if we can get this one running today. The guy said that it had run a few years ago. Who knows what that means? 10 years ago, 20 years ago, who knows? So what I'm gonna do is we're just gonna do the basics, check for spark, clean out the mixer, take a look in the fuel tank, and if we've got spark, we'll throw some gas at it and see if it'll start. So stay tuned for the video, and at the end, I'm gonna get this guy going again, because in the first video, it ran pretty well, but it's running a lot stronger. It seems like it's just running better now. So at the end of this video, if we get this guy going, we're gonna start this one up again for you. So thanks for watching, guys. Check it out, we've got a Maytag Model 92 up on the bench. This is a 1937, and it seems to be more complete than the 72 was. So I think we're gonna have an easier time getting this running than this pretty much needed to be completely gone through. So the only thing I've noticed is I've got a crack here on my flywheel. It's basically a perfect break out of this magnesium, I believe this is. So I'm mixing up some JB Weld right now. We're gonna repair that, let that dry, and then I'm hoping to get this thing started. I've got a new spark plug put in. We'll test the spark and throw some gas at it, and hopefully we'll get it running and we won't have to mess with too much. And then eventually I'll restore it like this one. But I'm crossing my fingers that this one runs with very little issues. We'll see. Let's get this thing JB welded first. Got the Model 92 down on the garage floor here. First thing we're gonna do is check and see if this has spark. So I'll get the spark tester on it. You can see the repair I did with the JB Weld. It's holding that pretty well. JB Weld is great stuff. All right, guys, let's do this. Watch for that spark. Yeah, we got spark. That was great. Well, that takes a lot of work off our plate right now, because as you know, that Model 72, I had to pull it apart and completely redo it and then put the new ignition in, but it seems like we got a good ignition. So I think at this point what I'm gonna do, we're gonna pull the mixer off and then at least make sure that everything in here is clear. So this is kind of like a carburetor without a throttle, and it's got the fuel pickup in there and an air metering valve and stuff like that. So we'll make sure that's good, blow it out with the air compressor, and take just a quick peek in the tank and see what's going on, and make sure that's fairly clean before we throw some gas in. And then at that point, we'll turn it over, see if it starts. Time to pull the mixer off. We'll get this air cleaner off of here. This just goes on with a set screw, and then there's 4 screws holding the mixer on. All right. This guy should just lift off. Let me get a rubber mallet. All right, let's tap on this. There we go. So here's the mixer. That's your pickup. Yeah, that looks pretty gummed up. So we'll take this off. We'll take this guy out. Looks like the gasket ripped in half. I think this is a one part gasket. And we'll blow all this out with the air compressor, and then we'll kind of see what's going on in the tank. It looks like just kind of some oily sludge in there. We're back on the bench. I'm gonna take this jet off, or the fuel pickup. And a check valve's moving around in there. That's a good sign. This guy's frozen in there. I might just leave that and just blow it out, because I don't want to end up damaging that right now. Man, that's really frozen on there. And I can't get a socket on here without removing that and this little air vent here. We might just go ahead and blow this out with carb clean and a little bit of compressed air and see, because I'd rather just see if this thing will run the way it's set up. And the way this, you can hear that little check valve in there moving, so that's a good thing. All right, let's do that. I'm gonna spray this down with carb clean. We'll blow it out, hit it with compressed air. We'll check on the gas tank, and then we'll go ahead and try to fire it off. And maybe it'll run. You know, why dig into this more if we don't have to? Okay, some carb cleaner. All right, so now that we've got it all blown out, we'll put this piece back on. All right, at this point, before I waste the gas, I think we're gonna dig into the tank. I wanna get that cleaned out really well. So I'm gonna undo the 4 screws that hold the base of the block here onto the top of the tank, and we'll get the tank cleaned out. So that way we're not wasting gas, and I don't wanna suck up some crap into the mixer. There's a spring here on this side I need to disconnect. That's the return spring for the kicker. So that pin's gotta come out, so this whole thing will come off. Take this pin out of here. All right. There's your kicker spring, that's loose. So let's pick up the whole engine. Kind of slide it over. Okay, so let's get you in the tank here. So you can see there's just all kinds of crud in there. So I'll get that wiped off. We'll hit it with some carb clean, get it cleaned up so we're not picking up any of that junk into the fuel mixer. Found a little washer in there, all kinds of stuff. So I'm putting some Dawn dish soap in there and just taking a wire brush, scrubbing it real well. And eventually we'll have to take this out and seal it with the fuel tank sealer like I did on the 92. Okay, I won't bore you with any more of that. We'll keep cleaning on this and I'll get back to you when we're ready to put the engine back on. All right, check this out, guys. So got it as clean as I could. It looks really good. So just a bunch of Dawn dish soap and a little wire brush, and that thing came really clean. So probably be good to run it for sure. And when I completely restore this, we'll do the sealer in there. But for now, let's get the engine back on here. We'll throw some gas in it, get that mixer back on, and we'll try to spin it over. Crossing my fingers. Let's get all our screws back in. So I thought before we start it real quick, we'll use the camera here and we'll look into the crankcase. See this gasket right here, that comes off and there's an opening here to see the crank. But the gasket is so old, I don't want to pull it off. I'm gonna destroy it. So I figured, hey, let's just run the camera in there. We'll see if we can see the bottom of the crank. So there we go. Yeah, you can kind of see it there. I think that's the edge of the piston. I just can't get, oh, there we go. Oh yeah, nice. Look at that, that's a real clear shot. So let's turn it over a little bit and you'll see the piston moving. Oh, it hit the camera. Yeah, well, there you go. Really hard to tell but I mean, it looks like everything's intact. If I back it out. All right, we're gonna put some 16-to-1 gas in. We'll fill it up to where I think that pickup valve will, or that fuel pickup will hit it. Yeah, you can see it's about a 1/4 inch of fuel on there. So we'll run with that. Put this guy back in. Oh, so before I bolt it down, I'll show you this locks out, bottoms out, even though it's not touching. So I think that should be the close position. And then we'll probably try to start it right there, about halfway. Okay, last thing I want to do, now that that's on, let's reconnect this return spring, because if it does run, I'll try to start it with the drill first. We'll just try to start it with the kickstart, just for the heck of it. Why not? All right, we're dumping just a tiny bit of fuel down there to prime it, since hasn't run in a while probably. Throw the spark plug back in. Got that guy clipped on. Here we go. What do you think? Is it gonna run? Wow. Well, it popped right off on our prime. I don't think it was feeding fuel yet, but we probably got to keep pulling on it. But it runs. All right, we're gonna try to fire it up again. Oops. Okay, so I don't think it's picking up fuel. Let's try priming it one more time. All right, let's try it on the prime. Maybe I'm gonna try the open setting back here. I had it in the middle, then I tried closed. Now I'll try the open. Yeah, the engine runs. But now it was kind of walking itself off of that little dolly that I've got. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna bolt this down to some 2x4s. And I think eventually I'll put little casters on the bottom so we can kind of roll it around the garage. So we're just gonna drill some holes and use some big bolts to bolt this guy down. Almost. Popping off. I appreciate you guys coming back to the garage to check out this Model 92 Maytag 1937. It runs, and it runs really well. It didn't fight me at all, just kind of cleaning it up. We cleaned the gas tank, cleaned out the mixer a little bit, and it ran no problem. New spark plug, and off it goes. So just to show you how well this thing is engineered. The Model 72, I made a video last week on. If you haven't gone back and watched that one, it's the complete restoration of this Model 72. This one fought me a bit. None of the, the ignition coil was bad and condenser, so I had to go ahead and replace that. So I figured I might as well just go through the entire thing and restore it. So that one is completely restored. I'm gonna start this one up for you because I feel like it's running a lot better than it did in my first video on this. So I'm gonna fire this up for you real quick and show you that. What's the future for this one? I think eventually I'll probably tear it down and make it look like the 72 here. We'll clean it all up and repaint it. There's not much we have to do mechanically or anything with the ignition, so I'll leave all that and we'll just get it looking nice. So thanks guys for watching. Real quick, before you leave me, I'll go ahead and fire this up for you real quick so you can see how it runs.